Hey, what's going on, guys? Quick video today to talk about systems. More specifically, I'm gonna actually share with you the questions that I go through when it comes to setting up a system for live streaming at a church. There are a lot of factors that go into setting up an entire broadcast system, but I'm gonna stay pretty high level and just give you the right questions to ask to help you make the right decisions for your church when it comes to live streaming. If you're still trying to find the best solutions for your church and your live streaming system, make sure you check out the free church video gear guide linked in the description below. And if you want someone to help you walk through this process personally, make sure you check out the link below to schedule a call to work with Church Video School on getting your church where it needs to be for consistent, high quality broadcast and live streaming. When it comes to live streaming, there are four main areas that you need to consider in your system. You've got cameras and lenses, you've got audio, you've got video switching and graphics, and then you've got encoding and uploading. So let's dive right in. All right, number one, cameras. This is by far the area I get the most questions from people about. When it comes to cameras, there are two main categories. You've got camcorders, and then you've got all the other cameras. You've got DSLR, mirrorless, and cinema type cameras over here. The first big question you've got to ask is, should we go the camcorder route or go what I just call the camera route, everything that's in that other category? I would say that 95% of the time with churches I work with, I say no on the camcorder route, and I really encourage you to go with the camera route. How do you know which is right for you? Camcorders are a little bit easier to use when it comes to live streaming and broadcast type events. They're more user-friendly for volunteers and non-professionals, and they tend to be a little bit more affordable. Cameras, on the other hand, tend to be higher quality, a lot more features, but they do require a little bit more expertise. The right questions to ask for your church and your camera setup is, what are you going to be doing outside of Sunday? The reason that question matters outside of Sunday, I thought we were talking about live streaming, is this. I think it's a massive waste of resources to invest in a high quality live streaming setup and then let that gear collect dust Monday through Saturday. I strongly believe you should be creating and producing video content each and every week, even if you're live streaming, because video content is more effective, it reaches more people, it has a much longer shelf life, and it is a higher quality form of communication than speaking live or handing out pamphlets when people walk in the door. Announcement videos, testimonies, invite videos, recap videos of events, all of that stuff works so much better with video. I think that if you're going to be making that kind of content, get a better camera. For live streaming, quality is important, but you can get by with a camcorder or a lower end DSLR camera and the live stream is going to look fine. But if you want to make quality video content during the week that you have time to actually edit, then I think that getting a higher quality mirrorless or DSLR camera or even a low-end cinema camera like the Blackmagics, the C70 from Canon, the S5 from Panasonic, cameras like that are going to allow you to live stream with them because you can live stream pretty much any camera that's over $500 or $800 at this point. But when you can shoot in those high quality codecs with good optics because you have a nice size sensor and nice glass on there, you can create some great professional looking, engaging content that you can actually work with during the week in your regular video production workflow. So to sum that up, if you can double dip with your cameras and get something that works great for live streaming, but also has great upside for filming and traditional video production, I think that's a great 2-for-1, which is why I'd say generally avoid camcorders because you just can't shoot that high end of stuff with a camcorder unless you spend $2,000, at which case you should have just bought a Blackmagic Pocket Cinema 4K. All right. When it comes to lenses, the question you need to ask is, where are our cameras located in the room? That's how you determine which lenses you should buy. You need to have zoom lenses. Don't get prime lenses for live streaming. It's going to make your life really, really difficult. Number two, the question should be, how many cameras do we want to invest in our system and where are we going to put them? I strongly encourage your first two cameras to go pretty much parallel to each other near the back of the room, near your soundboard. Don't put them on the far back wall. Don't put your camera as far away from the stage as possible and then think you need to buy the most expensive telephoto lens you can get to get that nice tight shot. So you just don't need to make it hard on yourself. If you want 3 cameras, put 2 in the back and 1 near the stage at a 45-degree angle off. You can even go handheld for a 3rd or 4th or 5th camera. That's really exciting, really adds value to your live stream. But before you ask the question, what camera should we get? What lenses do we need? You've got to map your room out. So make sure you have a plan for how many cameras you want to invest in, how many people can operate those cameras, and what can you realistically support with your switcher. And then once you've got that mapped out, ask yourself, which lenses should we get based on these positions? 70 to 200s in the back cameras look great and should have plenty of reach for you unless you're a mile away. And then in that camera that's on stage or near the stage, something like a 24 to 70 or a 24 to 105 tends to be a really sweet spot for lenses. All right, number 2 is audio. What are you supposed to do for audio? Well, the bottom line is that you need a separate broadcast mix for your online audience. If you aren't doing that, you're doing them a disservice, or you're doing everyone in the room a disservice if you're just mixing for broadcast on your main board and sending that to the PA. The reality is this: you ideally want 2 independent mixing boards, either physical boards or get a digital like DAW, like Pro Tools or Ableton or Logic, in order to process your broadcast mix. You can get by with sending your broadcast mix out over an aux out inside your digital board. That's not ideal, primarily because you only have one person handling that mix. It's really difficult to have a set of ears on that broadcast mix and then also have that same set of ears be listening to what's going on in the house. You ideally want someone who's got great speakers or headphones in a quiet room mixing just for broadcast because they don't hear any room noise, right? So the real question to ask when it comes to broadcast audio is, do we want to invest now or later in a second mixer because it's inevitable if you're going to take live streaming seriously? But also, in the meantime, do we have the personnel to run 2 setups? You don't need to live stream every single service. You can live stream one and have the rest be in room only and just restream the one you already sent. So you don't need to have double the volunteers for every service. But you're going to have to ask yourself those questions. Are we willing to train someone or hire someone to do broadcast audio? Or are we more content to have a lower quality mix in the room and or online if we can only use one person? Number 3, switching and hardware. When it comes to switchers, the real question shouldn't be, do I need a switcher? The question should be, how big of a switcher should I get? If you're a church that's not in a position to get 3 or 4 or 5 cameras now or in the next 12 months, then I do think it's smart to go with a smaller switcher like an A10 Mini or Mini Pro. When it comes to those two, I really recommend getting a Mini Pro or Mini Pro ISO because they have hardware encoding built in, so you're not putting extra load on your computers. My guess is most churches that are in that position don't have computers just lying around that have great processing. So as much as you can do to offload CPU power, the better for your stability and the performance of your live stream. Don't forget, your ProPresenter feed is going to be at least 1 feed into your switcher. So if you've got an A10 Mini Pro, you can only put 3 cameras on there because ProPresenter is going to be coming in as your 4th camera, so to speak, on that last HDMI input. So make sure when you're counting cameras, start at 2 because ProPresenter is going to be number 1 almost no matter what you're doing. And then your first camera is going to be your second input and on from there. I know that there are a lot of you out there who are using your switcher as basically just a big USB dongle, and then you're actually switching and adding graphics either in ProPresenter or OBS or some other software solution. If you've got software processing and encoding your video and adding graphics and also running your screens on ProPresenter and maybe even also running Ableton, you're going to have a much higher failure rate and dropped frames, skipping playback, all those things that cause people to tune out when they're watching online. Those are going to go up. But if you've got your processing spread out, you've got an actual hardware switcher that's actually processing and encoding that video for you, you're sending your graphics to that so that those are getting laid on inside your switcher. You've got your audio getting mixed somewhere else, processed in an actual mixer or software mixer, and then being fed into your stream. If you can spread those things out, you're going to have a much more robust system that works week in and week out without those last-minute failures or mid-service overheating issues that are so easy to happen when we're asking too much of one computer. Now, finally, for the last piece of this puzzle, which is the one that confuses people the most, is encoding and uploading. So real quick, with one exception, your switcher and or your cameras cannot plug into the internet directly. You're gonna have to have some kind of device, physical or software, that's going to encode your video so that it can be read by a streaming service like YouTube, Church Online, or Facebook. Now, this is cheap and easy to do, but it comes at the expense of quality and consistency. There's a lot more issues with buffering and dropped frames and glitching when you've got software doing your encoding and uploading for you. There are hardware solutions out out there for this, where you skip a computer altogether and plug your switcher directly into a device that then encodes it for uploading and takes care of that for you. The most popular of these is the Resi line of encoders, the Ray encoder or the Prism encoder. They're a great investment in maintaining that camera-like quality for your live stream without any glitches, without any playback issues. And it's honestly so much easier for volunteers to run your stream and make sure that it doesn't fall apart because the stream keys got messed up or you put it in the wrong place. It takes care of a lot of those issues so that it practically runs itself. All right, guys, I hope this has been a helpful video for you, giving you some questions and thoughts to chew on when it comes to your live streaming system and setup. And maybe some of those elements haven't been addressed very well yet, and this can help you make some good decisions moving forward. Remember, leveraging live streaming and video is what allows our churches to be resilient in the face of setbacks from government regulations, virus outbreaks, or anything else that disrupts the normal gathering of people. If you want to shepherd your church, you've got to shepherd your online campus, your online presence, as if they're in the room with you. If you give the people in your church attending online leftovers and crumbs, then don't be surprised if people aren't exactly banging down the door to watch your live stream. If you invest in it, you will reap the rewards of actually shepherding your people and being out there, letting God do his work in the world through this medium. Make sure you check out the church video gear guide below, or sign up for a call if you want Church Video School to walk you through how to get your system where it needs to be for live streaming. I'll see you next time.